The Hasselblad X2D II promises big upgrades over the original, but are they really worth your money? Here's what nobody's telling you. It's actually $800 cheaper than the original was at launch. You are watching Alt Buzz. If you love cameras, you're in the right place. If you have not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button now. Let's dive in. Let's start with how these cameras feel. The X2D already nailed that premium machined aluminum build, but the X2D II shaved off 67 grams. Your neck will thank you after 12-hour shoots. More importantly, they added 8 customizable buttons and a 5D joystick. On the original, you're stuck with touchscreen navigation. With the X2D II, you can change focus points without taking your eye from the viewfinder. The new textured grip and magnetic port covers seem minor until you're shooting in rain. For pros who need speed, these ergonomic upgrades alone might justify switching. Now let's talk about what really matters. Image quality. Both cameras pack the same 100 megapixel medium format sensor. We're talking 11,656 by 8,742 pixels. That's enough resolution to crop into your image like you're using a telescope and still have enough detail for a billboard. But here's the thing. Same sensor doesn't mean same performance. The X2D gives you 15 stops of dynamic range at its base, ISO of 64. Pretty incredible, right? Well, the X2D II pushes that to 15.3 stops with a new native ISO of 50. That extra third of a stop might not sound groundbreaking, but when you're pulling details from the shadows of a backlit portrait or recovering highlights in a sunset, every bit counts. What really sets the X2D II apart is something called HNC-SHDR, basically Hasselblad's way of capturing 281 trillion colors in 16-bit depth. The original captures amazing colors too, don't get me wrong, but the X2D II can output these new Ultra HDR JPEGs that look absolutely stunning straight out of camera. We're talking about sunset gradients that actually look like what your eyes saw, not what your camera struggled to capture. For portrait photographers, skin tones come out so natural, you'll spend way less time tweaking them in post. The noise performance at high ISOs is marginally better on the X2D II, but let's be honest, if you're regularly shooting at ISO 25,600 on a medium format camera, you might be doing something wrong. Both cameras are really meant to sing at their lower ISOs where that massive sensor can capture every photon of light without breaking a sweat. This is where everything changes. The X2D has 294 phase detection points with single-shot autofocus only. Try tracking anything that moves and you're gambling. The X2D II, 425 points, continuous autofocus, LiDAR assistance, and deep learning that recognizes humans, pets, and vehicles. Picture this. Bride walking down the aisle. With the X2D, you get one chance to nail focus. With the X2D II, it tracks her every step. Neither camera does burst shooting. This is still medium format. But the X2D II's autofocus illuminator means no more hunting in dim churches. For working pros, this transforms the camera from a tripod-only tool to something you can actually handheld at events. Neither shoots video, not 4K, not even 480p. Nothing. In a world where everything records video, Hasselblad said, "We're making the best stills camera, period. No heat management compromises, no cluttered menus with video settings. If you need hybrid capabilities, buy something else." These are pure photography tools. The X2D's 7-stop stabilization already lets you handhold quarter-second exposures. The X2D II pushes this to 10 stops. We're talking 1-second handheld exposures. Night cityscapes without a tripod. That's not just convenient, it's creatively liberating. The screen upgrade is massive. Both have the same sharp EVF, but the X2D II switches to a 1400 nit OLED. That's 75% brighter. It tilts 90 degrees up, 43 down, and pulls away from the viewfinder for waist-level shooting. Plus haptic feedback. You feel when focus locks. These touches make the camera disappear so you can focus on creating. Good news here. Both cameras use the same XCD mount, so all 13 plus XCD lenses work on both bodies. Your investment in glass carries over perfectly, but the X2D II does have one trick up its sleeve. Remember that continuous autofocus we talked about? It only works with 7 of the newer lenses, including the 25mm, 38mm, and 55mm V-series lenses. Hasselblad also launched a new 35 to 100mm zoom that's optimized for the X2D II. If you're using older XCD lenses, you still get all the other benefits, just not the continuous autofocus. The firmware support is solid for both cameras, but the X2D II obviously gets priority for new features. The LiDAR optimization and HDR processing are baked in from day one, making even older lenses perform better on the newer body. Both cameras nail storage with a built-in 1TB SSD, space for 4,000 RAW plus JPEG pairs before touching a memory card. Write speeds hit 2,370 megabytes per second, plus there's a CFX press slot for backup. Wedding photographers, rejoice. Same 3,400 milliamp hour battery in both. Good for 4 to 500 real-world shots. The X2D2's updated Focus Mobile 2 app offers faster tethering and HDR editing right from your iPhone, crucial for studio efficiency. The X2D2 brings some genuinely new tech to the table. That LiDAR sensor isn't just for autofocus, it's creating actual depth maps of your scene. This means the camera knows exactly how far away everything is, which helps with subject detection and those computational features everyone's talking about. The deep learning AI for subject tracking feels like black magic compared to the original's basic autofocus. Point the camera at a person, and it finds their eyes instantly, even in terrible light. Same with pets. It'll lock onto your dog's face and track it as they run around. This isn't some gimmick. It's the difference between getting the shot and missing it. Then there's the end-to-end HDR workflow with brightness mapping. Unlike traditional HDR that looks overcooked and weird, this creates files with natural-looking, extended dynamic range. Landscape photographers who've been bracketing and blending exposures for years can now get similar results in a single shot. Both cameras support leaf shutter lenses for flash sync at any speed, which is huge for studio work. But the X2D2's Hasselblad natural noise reduction in the app is surprisingly good. It's not just smearing details like most noise reduction, it's actually preserving texture while cleaning up the grain. Let's talk money because these aren't exactly impulse purchases. The original X2D launched at $8,199. Today you can find it new for around $7,000 to $8,000, or less if you go used. The X2D2, $7,399 at launch and holding steady there. Think about that. The newer, more advanced camera is actually cheaper than what the original cost. In the world of medium format, where cameras often cost more than cars, that's remarkable. Hasselblad clearly wants to expand their market beyond the traditional medium format crowd. Is the upgrade worth it if you already own the X2D? If you're primarily shooting landscapes on a tripod with manual focus, probably not. Save your money for a nice lens or a trip to Iceland. But if you're shooting portraits, events, or anything that moves, that $800 difference, or potentially less if you trade in, gets you a fundamentally more capable camera. For new buyers, it's a no-brainer. Unless you find an incredible deal on a used X2D, the X2D2 gives you more camera for less money. The autofocus alone transforms this from a specialized tool into something you could actually use as your primary camera. So here's the bottom line. The Hasselblad X2D II isn't just an incremental update. It's Hasselblad admitting that medium format needs to evolve. The original X2D is an incredible camera for deliberate, thoughtful photography. It forces you to slow down, compose carefully, and really think about each shot. For some photographers, that's exactly what they want. The X2D II keeps all that medium format magic. The incredible resolution, the color science that makes every image look like art, the build quality that feels like jewelry. But it adds the speed and intelligence that modern photographers expect. That continuous autofocus with subject tracking, it means you can shoot a medium format camera like you'd shoot your mirrorless. The 10-stop stabilization, You're getting shots handheld that would have required a tripod and careful planning before. For landscape photographers who work methodically, the original X2D is still phenomenal and now represents better value than ever. For wedding photographers, portrait artists, or anyone who needs flexibility and speed, the X2D II is the clear winner. It's not just about the specs, it's about removing the barriers between you and the image you want to create. Would you make the switch or stick with the classic X2D? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're curious about how these Hasselblads stack up against the Fujifilm GFX series, that video is coming next week. Until then, keep shooting, and remember, the best camera is the one that helps you create the images you envision, whether that's the original or the upgrade. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.